Hello and welcome to another episode of the A3 Football Show. Today we're gonna discuss Serie A. It's a competition that I think we both find quite entertaining a lot of the time. I think one thing you can say about Serie A is that there are always five or six teams up there, you
Yeah,
know, so it keeps it interesting in terms of the title race until, maybe it gets to March or so, and then maybe someone will pull away. But,
yeah,
it's a very competitive league, a lot of big games. There's big games most weekends because of how many big teams there are, that
yeah,
are, relevant. But on the grand, in the grand scheme of things, if we look at Serie A's place in the world, it has declined compared to where it used to be, right?
yeah,
It used to be that multiple Serie A teams would be contenders for the Champions League.
yeah,
Um, you know, Inter, AC, Juventus, all won Champions Leagues, in the past. And now that just seems unimaginable, pretty much.
yeah,
It's only Inter in the last half a decade or so that have had any success they got to a couple of Champions League finals, right?
yeah,
Um, they're probably, they've won the league a couple times in recent years. They're probably the top Italian team at the moment, but no one else has been even competitive in Europe. So, um, what do you think is the main reason behind that decline for Sarah? If
uh,
you just look at everything, I know it's been a long process.
yeah. I mean, first of all, I would say that because a lot of people might argue, oh, they don't have the ability to spend money in that league, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think there is money being thrown around in that league, but it's being used like they don't use money very well in that league. So, for example, we talk about Juve because I think Juve are the biggest the biggest example of this. They spent how much did they spend on coop miners?
That was a bad one. That was a really bad one. I want to say 50 million euros.
Okay, 50 million euros on coop
Let me
miners.
check that. But yeah, it just made no sense, really and truly, because I remember at that time when I looked at Atalanta's team, Atalanta were always
Yeah,
up there in the league.
yeah,
I forgot to um yeah, mention them before. But yeah, Koopmeiners was not even one of their key players.
mm,
Like when I was watching it, Edison was more important in how they played than Koopmeiners. Koopmeiners just got goals,
yeah.
that's all it was. And yeah, it's pretty embarrassing to be kind of swayed just by just by goals without looking at the his whole midfield game. What this is the thing, right? Premier League teams here and there will waste money,
Yeah.
but there's so much money in the league.
They can afford to. They can afford to make a couple of mistakes every few years, you know.
Yeah,
But whereas in Italy, one big like your marquee signing, if that's not the right guy, or if that's not even close to the right guy, then that really is your season written off. And it's not so. But my point was, it's not just some signings like Teon Koopmeiners. It's also the same team signing players that they don't necessarily want, like Lois Openda, because Juve
yeah,
have just been made to spend what was it 45 million euros on him or something like that.
yeah. It's like that came out of nowhere. I remember that was deadline day. Just came out. I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah,
I,
I don't know what they were
I,
thinking.
but the thing is, I don't think they actually wanted him because I think they said they're sending him on loan.
Yeah,
Did
yeah, yeah.
they've sent him on loan
He's gone on loan to
to
Leon
Lyon?
now.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
see, so he's gone on loan to Lyon. So why did they spend that 45
yeah.
million euros on him if there was no plan to utilize him? Like
I think
this
it
is
was a panic buy, which is just ridiculous. You can't afford to do that level of panic buy when your
no.
budget is so low each summer.
See,
You
and
know.
so for me, this is the biggest reason as to why. I mean, of course, there's a like if you look at Italy and not being able to qualify for the last three World Cups, that plays a big. There's a big role in that. You know, they're not really developing the young players very well. But I do think that more than anything, the money just isn't spent wisely in any way, shape, or form. And I think for me, that is the biggest reason why the English teams even the Spanish teams, the German teams are able to pull away because if they're gonna spend money, they know, okay, we're sure about this guy, or else they just don't. Especially like the Germans and the Spanish teams, they know the money that we have to use it properly. And so if we're gonna go for somebody, we're gonna go for someone that we know can try and change our fortunes, or we just don't spend the money at all. And Italy, they've been, like you say, panic buying a lot of players. I'm using Juve as an example because the team at Atalanta, they sell very well and they don't really. They've done a good job of selling, but the bigger teams in Italy have been spending money poorly for a long time, apart from maybe Inter Milan. And that's probably the reason why they've managed to, appear in a couple of Champions League finals over the last few years. But anyway.
Yeah, it's been poor. It's true. I mean, you can see the impact good scouting can have. If you look at when Napoli, over a couple of years, signed Osimhen, Kvara. I mean, they were able to win the league. They were able to go for a team that was not even qualifying for the Champions League to win the league because, I think there has been an element of, I don't know, a lack of creativity, I would say, in the transfer window with Serie A clubs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what's meant they've fallen behind because sometimes they're competing directly with not bigger Premier League teams, but maybe mid-table Premier League teams nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe your Brightons or your Brentfords or who have similar abilities to pay in terms of transfer fees, maybe greater, to be honest, than some of these Serie A clubs, these top Serie A clubs.
The Serie A, I think to a lot of players, playing in Italy is an attractive prospect. Especially, like you say, like a team like AC Milan are going to be able to, are only really going to be able to pay you the same amount of money as a team, as a Brentford or or a Brighton or a team like that. But the thing is, they can also, I mean, if they're performing a Napoli or a Milan or a Juve, they can offer you Champions League football or they can offer you European football, So for a lot of players, it would be an attractive prospect to go and play in that league for a lot of those teams. It's just the fact that I think they've just got their aiming at the wrong players and they don't really, they're not really sure about what they're doing with their money.
Yeah, it's a good point because as a player, well, it depends at what stage of my career I'm at. If I prefer to play for one of the bigger Italian teams or one of these mid-table Prem teams, maybe if I'm younger, I'll go to a mid-table Prem team that I could then move on from and potentially
that's true.
It would be an easier route to, let's say, Madrid, Barca, if I was like aiming that high. But then at the same time, nowadays these Italian teams, I mean, it's still tough to buy Inter's best player, for example. No matter who you are. So that's a decision I'd make. But especially I would rather be competing for silverware in Serie A than play. Just settling for being a mid-table player in the Premier League. So I do get that attraction for sure. If you look at Serie A this summer, then do you feel like we're seeing any improvement in terms of the transfer decision making, the scouting? What's your thoughts?
Okay, I think it's interesting. I think I'll use Inter Milan as another example. Inter Milan, they've been for the last couple of years, they've dominated the league quite a little bit. They've been quite strong. And one thing that they've pinpointed is, they had a very, very old squad come the end of last season. So, they had a lot of 36-year-olds in the team. Multiple, like they had multiple of those players.
Squad was full of them,
So I think they've tried to refresh and bring down the average age of the squad, which I think is a very good move. I can't really fault them for a lot of the moves that they make in the transfer market. I think they're quite, they do sound business at that club. Lazio too. Lazio is another team. They don't really have money to spend, but somehow
they don't have any money. That's the problem.
Yeah, they. I feel like every season they have like a 10 million euro budget or something.
Yeah,
but every season they manage to be up there with. They're not far from the top teams,
Yeah.
and then another team like Roma. To be honest, I'm not really sure what Roma are doing this season. Roma,
Roma, yeah, they're an interesting one. I want to get into them at
yeah,
some point. Just on Inter then.
yeah,
What, obviously they won the league last year. What do you think of the moves they made? So they signed John Stones
yeah.
on a
Good,
free.
very good signing.
Yeah, I love that signing actually. I think that's a great fit for him. I think
Mm-hmm.
Serie A in the middle probably of the back three, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he'll help them a lot in terms of just playing out from the back and things like that, giving them more options to start attacks.
yeah,
Um, this summer they brought back Stankovic as well.
yeah. Stankovic is back. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I don't know where he would play. Maybe he'd compete with Çalhanoğlu for his role because I
I
think he's
mean,
played the similar role.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
at
think,
Bruges.
me personally, I think Stankovic has a much higher ceiling. I think Stankovic can. By the end of the season, I think Stankovic will be starting in that position. Yeah, Stankovic is there.
I think
Did,
Çalhanoğlu has that thing. He takes set pieces that I think
yeah.
that might keep him
I
in the
mean,
team for a while. But
there's
like
no there's
I
no
understand.
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
I personally, I would prefer to use Stankovic to be honest
and
at the start.
Çalhanoğlu is not a bad player. So you could.
Yeah,
One thing about Inter is that they do have good squad options as well. It's not just the starting lineup that is good. They have some very decent players that can come in and do a job in the midfield. Up front, they've got four very decent strikers. They've got Lautaro Martinez, Marcus Thuram, Ange Bonni,
Pio Esposito as well.
Pio Esposito. So they have some. They have like they're not really apart from right now. They're looking for a right wing back. They're not really lacking in any
Yeah,
position apart from that.
that's the
You know.
main one, right? Because they've lost
Mm,
Dumfries
yeah.
to Real Madrid, and it looks like Jed Spence is the number one target at the moment.
Yeah.
What do you think of that move?
Well, for me, Judd Spence isn't really a wing back. I think I can see what they're trying to, what they can see in Judd Spence, but I don't think he is what they require in that position. For me, Judd Spence is a right back. I think he's a very decent 1v1 defender. But going forward, he hasn't really impressed me with his delivery, like his crossing and his
Yeah,
finishing, his passing. It hasn't really, even during the World Cup, even though he did put in some very good defensive performances, he didn't really. He wasn't really. I mean, once he gets into the box, he's got feet. He's got the speed
yeah,
that can cause issues and maybe concede. He can make teams concede penalties.
yeah.
But in terms of his,
I agree. I think his feet are the thing that give him some. I can see why it works because he played a lot at wing back, in the championship.
yeah,
And then what I do like about him at wing back is that he's really quick, and he does complete quite a few take-ons. Like
yeah,
he'll get past the guy because of his speed and just he's got nimble feet. And then he can get into the box, and because he got those nimble feet, he's dangerous. He's like the type of guy you could easily foul. He could,
yeah.
but I agree. The weak area is his passing, the final delivery.
Mm-hmm.
That stops him from being a top
Yeah,
player. But then I think if I'm looking at Inter, I think he would add a lot in terms of, helping them be just as solid, maybe even more solid. But then being that counter threat because of how fast he is, just being an
yeah,
option on the right, an option get to the byline, do his best to get in there. He's not like a bad crosser or anything. He's just
yeah,
I'm just I guess we're comparing to some of the top guys. I don't. I'm not gonna say. I think he might be better than Dumfries to me. I don't know. I do like Jed Spence. I do like Dumfries. I think they're similar level players, to be honest.
yeah.
I think they're good at different things, and I think yeah, you still do use that 1v1 defending at times at wing back.
Of course.
It will be useful, and I think you got John Stones. You got, what was it, probably be Bissek then on the right centre back.
Yeah, I mean, Akanji is also
or Kanji,
there.
yeah, Kanji as well.
So they have
I
some
know
players.
Pavard's staying, but he's probably going to be a backup player. I think,
Yeah,
Bastoni left centre back, DeMarco. It's a very good back five, to be fair. I
yeah,
think yeah, helps them just keep that be more dominant out wide in terms of on the counter attack. But I think the midfield is also somewhere that they could improve. I think that left centre mid role, they've got Zielinski, right? He plays like so the guy that's gonna start is Barella, right? Barella will
Of
start,
course.
and then with Çalhanoğlu or Stankovic, as we mentioned. But then you've got who? You've got Zielinski, you've got
Peter Sušić.
yeah, Sušić. You've got Mkhitaryan, but he's old. I mean,
he's another 37-year-old that needs to be. Is Fratesi David
Fratesi,
Fratesi?
I expect him to leave this summer. I think he's been linked with Lazio on loan, though I don't know if Lazio can afford to buy him, which is the problem. I think they want to sell him if they can get some money. And then I think
that'll be a good move.
Yeah. Juve, I mean, he's been used as more of a utility player again, not a starter. But I'm talking about a starter, right? In that maybe left centre mid role that has a bit of creativity, good at holding onto the ball, good in possession, good can link up with DeMarco, but then also link up with the strikers. They've been linked to Curtis Jones, and I do think that would be a really good stylistic fit. Actually, I think he would do great in Serie A in a team that's dominating like that. I think he'd really get to shine, show more of his game. And I think that, if they offer about £35 million, I could see it happening. I think they think that's a lot of money, and Liverpool think that's like a cheap deal nowadays. That just it tells the story of the difference between the leagues. Because if it was Premier League clubs going after him, the price would probably be higher. That's the thing, right? If it was a Premier League battle, but he probably wants to play for Inter over a team in the middle of the Premier League or something like that. So it would be a great fit for him. I think for Spence and Curtis Jones as well, it's great opportunities to really play for a team that's the best team in Italy right now.
Yeah,
but really finally have like a real opportunity to display their talent, for a top team regularly. And it's like sometimes we make judgments on players when they're in and out of the team, being moved around. And, I feel like Curtis Jones, for example, he has a reputation on what he is as a player already. But it's like we haven't really seen him at his very best because he's never been given a real run.
Yeah.
Players like that, when you see them start for a season, McTominay is another one, right? McTominay, because he played for Manchester United and he was never, there were times he played a lot of games, to be fair, but he was in and out of the team because we had other better players, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, etc. His first year where he knew he was going to be a starter at Napoli, you can see that freedom in him. It's like as the weeks went on, he's growing, he's getting better and better. By halfway through the season, he was looking like a top player, and I think both Spence and Curtis Jones, for the first time in years,
they could benefit from that.
Yeah, exactly. But what other teams do you think would be the main challenges for Inter?
Interestingly, I want to say Como.
Ooh, okay. I'm glad you said that.
I want to say
they're such an interesting team to analyze. Very clever in the transfer market. I think. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I think. I think they have a completely different philosophy to the other teams in the league. They don't really have many Italian players in their team. However, they do sign very young players, and very young and upcoming players. So they do have, if I don't think they need to sell, but if they were to sell, they could make quite a lot of money from the players that they have because they have some very good players in their squad. Also, I think they're playing Champions League this year.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, they qualify for Champions League and they've improved their team. So they've signed Trevor Chalobah at centre back.
Really good signing, I think. I think that's a really good fit. Him and Ramon at centre back.
Yeah.
I like the the way they complement each other.
Yeah.
I see that.
Which other signings have they made this summer?
Yeah, so they've signed Jan Kuto on
Oh,
loan
the
with
right
a view
back.
to permanent from
Ooh.
Dortmund. I really like
Okay.
him
Yeah.
in a team that plays how Como do. He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
good in possession, whether he's
See,
inverting or out wide.
they've been doing good business for a couple of seasons now,
Yeah,
and they're only
obviously.
improving.
Yeah, that Nico Paz signing as well, permanent,
Yeah,
right? How much
yeah.
was that? Like 60,
60 million euros, I
yeah,
think.
60 mil, I think. So, they've gone out, they splashed the cash,
Yeah.
they have gone for it. Keiki, I think, at left back as well, they signed from Cruzeiro, the
Okay.
Brazilian left back. So, I think they're looking for a striker. I've heard today that their first choice is still Moise Kean.
Oh, okay.
That's, it'll be a great fit, I think.
Yeah, but even Fiorentina have made a lot of very good signings this
Yeah,
summer.
exactly.
So
They're an
they're another
interesting team.
team. So I don't think he'd really be losing. Moise Kean would be losing much if he was to stay in Fiorentina. I mean, if he wasn't to start, then that would be an issue. But I think the signings that they've made this summer, they would be. I think they should be up there. They should be in the European
You're saying
spots.
Fiorentina should be up there
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely. I think I think they should improve a lot this summer. I mean,
Obviously,
they've improved a lot this
they had
summer.
a terrible season last year, right? At a point, they
Yeah,
were bottom of the league, I think, and
yeah,
in a relegation zone for a long time. But
yeah,
yeah, you see them actually making a complete U-turn this season.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they've made
yeah,
some very good signings this summer. I think now
yeah.
Ulai is
That
top
is
signing.
one of the
That was a
signings of the
coup.
summer in the
Yeah,
whole of Europe for sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They've also signed. I mean, they've got Mastantuono on loan from
Yeah,
Madrid.
man. Yeah, that's these signings there. These are top talents. If you put them in the right positions,
Yeah.
get the best out of them. I've heard it could be a diamond or something like that with Mastantuono as a number 10, which could be
Oh, okay.
interesting.
Didn't they sign is it
Yeah, after Atta.
Alpha Atta
Yeah,
from
from
Udinese?
Udinese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's
hmm
another decent player. I watch him.
Yeah.
I see the quality there. So
Yeah.
they've made. I think who
They've
else have
had a
they
lot of
signed?
good defenders as well. They signed Draguzin from
Oh, so you Dragusin
Tottenham.
from Spurs. Yeah, another good
They
signing.
signed Vieira, a young left-footed Brazilian centre back.
Okay.
And then they signed Jimenez on loan from Bournemouth,
Oh,
and
Alex Jimenez, right back.
yeah,
Yeah.
as well
Okay.
as João Mario from Juventus at the right back as well. So
Wait, but isn't Dodo playing right back as
they've
well?
got Dodo. I think there's a chance Dodo could
Dodo.
leave. Dodo has been linked to Juve, been linked to
Okay.
other
Okay.
teams this summer. I could see him at maybe Spurs if they sold Jed Spence as well.
Okay.
So yeah, but keeping Moise Kean would be key, I think, for their success.
Yeah.
So they'd ask for a lot of money, I'm assuming, for Como to be able to take him, because yeah, that would be a big one. Como, there is one shout that I would just love. I just think it would be the perfect fit. I would love Como to sign Angel Gomez from
Ooh.
Marseille. I
Yeah.
just think, right, the way Fabregas plays, he would be like the controller in that team. It would help Nico Paz even more. And I think Serie A as a league suits him. I think he could set the tempo in that team. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, you got a really good back four now. That I'm a big fan of. You get Angel Gomez and the top striker. João and Jesus Rodriguez, I think they, as wingers, have a lot of potential as well. Young, Senegalese and Spanish wingers. So, yeah, I think it's a good shout if we're talking about Serie A. If they can get a couple more, that midfielder and that striker especially, then I'm backing you in terms of saying they're title challengers. Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think is not going to do very well this summer? Like, there's expectations on certain teams.
Yeah.
Who do you think is just not going to perform?
For me, the one I'm gonna go with at this moment in time. Okay, I still got the transfer window to see exactly what's gonna happen. I've got to go for Milan. I've got to go for Milan. I've got to go for Milan. I'm sorry. Ruben Amorim. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it with him. You know what it is, right? Milan have some good players.
Mm.
Ramos is a good striker. He's a good player. He's in the right team. He could score some goals. They have got some players that fit Amarim's system, I would say,
Yeah.
but you're having to fit around the system, and he's just also has got some real blind spots when it comes to football.
Hmm.
I feel like they could make a couple of signings that make me change my mind and think, you know what, all right, they're gonna have a good season. But at the moment, I think I'll go for them because, and it's not necessarily that I think they'll be terrible, but I do really think also Juve. I think they could have a really good season.
Yep.
So there's a few teams that I could see pulling away if Milan, aren't good from the beginning, which, yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see, man. We're gonna have to wait and see. How about you? Same question. Do you think
Yeah.
who do you
I,
think's
I
gonna
was
be struggling?
I wasn't very confident with Milan. I didn't really like yeah. I mean, the appointment is the appointment, but like you say, it's just the way the kind of players they've been targeting. They've been rejected by a few players already this summer, so it's just I'm thinking where they're gonna struggle to improve the squad the way they need to. And already they spent the vast majority of their budget on Ramos.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That was a real
that's
big call, over 70 million euros. I mean,
yeah,
I think that was too much money, honestly.
yeah,
But he can score goals in the right
yeah,
team, so
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Um, so I would have to agree with you, Milan. But a team that hasn't really improved, in my opinion, I think, um, no, Napoli. I don't
Napoli,
think
yeah,
Napoli have really, and they haven't really had a good summer. I think, obviously they're getting the fallback from the Conte leaving, but
yeah,
Allegri's come in, and me personally, I'm not really convinced by Allegri. Like I've never really seen anything from him. Like people will talk about the time when he was at Juve, but he came in after Conte. Didn't he come in after Conte before?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
so it
He
was
won.
really
He
the
won his
team.
league titles. He had a very good team back then.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
team
yeah.
was very good. So no, like respect to him for that. But since then, I haven't really seen anything from him where I look at the situation. I'm like, yeah, this guy's overachieved. He's done very well. He's maintained dominance with the squad. I just haven't seen anything like that. So that's why I'm not very confident. I mean, of course, you've got guys like McTominay, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, um, but they haven't really signed anybody else. And I think they need to make signings that are going to make a difference. They need to improve their team.
I agree. I don't know if they're playing. I think they're probably playing a four at the back this season, 4-3-3.
Yeah.
If they get a couple of wingers, at least one really good one, that shoot playing with Hoyland, so someone who's probably more someone who's going to help you hold on to the ball, help progress the ball up the pitch, and just let Hoyland do the things he's good at.
Hmm.
If you could get a couple of good wingers, then yeah, I'd be more confident in that team. They've been linked to Badiashile on loan. I think that could be a
Okay.
good signing.
Yep.
But yeah, they sold Gutierrez. I guess they already have Mateus, Oliveira, and Spinazzola. So
Gutierrez is a good player. I like
yeah,
Gutierrez.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that'd be a good signing for Leverkusen.
Hmm.
But yeah, I agree. I think yeah, if they could make a few signings, they could come back into the conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Roma are interesting because I think they're reliant on Manu Kone staying for me
Yeah.
to still see them as a team that can challenge at the top.
Yep. For
Because
sure.
he's so key to them. The partnership last season with Elanui, yeah, that was a good fit as well. I think they're linked with Rodrigo Mora, the young Porto player.
Okay.
Have you watched him?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
player.
yeah. He's a good player. I think he'd
Yeah.
be a good fit. They've kept Dybala. I think Matthias Sula will leave.
I think it's
And
better for him.
yeah, I agree. And they signed Castro, right, from Bologna. That's
Oh,
an
the
interesting
striker.
signing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, maybe a wing back or two. They signed Koulirakis from Wolfsburg as well.
Oh, what
Ro-
position is he?
He's a centre back, left footed centre back.
Okay.
Greek centre back. He's pretty good. So I think yeah, if they get a couple of wing backs and keep Kone, then yeah, I would say they could have a good season. If they lose Kone, I just don't see anyone on the market that they could get. Could they sign? Could they spend the whole Kone fee on someone? Maybe like a Lamine Kamara. That's what I'm thinking about.
Mm.
Or with Italian teams, a lot of the time when they make a big sell like that, they need to spread it out a little bit. In terms
How
of
about because I know they've got this guy that came through last season, Pisilli.
yeah. To be fair, I need to watch more of him. He's highly rated. He is highly rated. So if he is an answer, because I think he's only like 21, but he's very highly rated. Yeah. Have you watched much of him?
No, I actually haven't. Yeah, that's one guy I've not
So
really.
yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. So, man, this whole league again, I don't expect anything but a very competitive start, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 or 3 pulling away. And if I'm gonna
Yeah.
go right now, I would say Inter, Juve, and Como are the
Oh,
3
right. Okay.
that might pull away. How about you?
Inter for sure. Did you say Inter, Juve, and Como?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Juve, right? I like their signing of Kolomuani. I like
Yeah.
the Kerim. I don't want to mess up his name.
Which Kerem?
Uh, Kerim Begovic is that his name? The guy
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
The Bosnian guy
From
from
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he scored a really good goal at the World Cup. He's got a great shot on him. It's an interesting one because obviously they've been playing 5 at the back with a left 10
Mm-hmm.
and right 10, and Yildiz has been playing left 10, and you'd
Yeah.
think that would be his position, Kerim coming in, but maybe they could change the formation this season, and that's one thing I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. I think that could really help them if they went 4-2-3-1, had Yildiz maybe as the number 10, Kerim off the left. On the right, they still got Zegrova and Consecal, either one of them for different games. Colomwani up front. I do think that's a good team with Locatelli and Turan maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Van. I like the look of that. Lukumi, they're
That's a
close
good
to
signing.
signing. That's a very
Yeah,
good signing, right?
that would be a good signing. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Bremer. That's a very imposing partnership. I like the look of that, to be fair.
But who's
Cambiasso at left back.
Oh yeah, who's the right back now though?
Right back. They've got Zeki Celik that they just
Mm.
signed for Roma. Not the biggest fan of him. I think he'd be an okay backup, but they need a
Yeah.
starting right back. I think they need
Okay.
to sign one this summer. If they can
And
get
then
well position. I think if they can get that right back and a keeper,
their goalkeeper, yeah, that's one thing
then
they've been trying for various keepers, but
yeah,
I don't know. They don't want to spend. They just spent £45 million on someone they loaned up, but they don't spend on a keeper.
yeah, exactly. You see, it's a bad allocation of resources, right?
It's
But
interesting.
that's why, because they've made those mistakes, they have to be a bit selective with who they go for,
Yeah.
and maybe they save money on the goalkeeper by getting Suzuki on loan from PSG.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Right?
yeah.
If they do that, then you've got a bit of money for a good right back. They are linked to Joshua Zirkzee as well.
Okay.
Maybe that's another striker option, but I mean,
Oh, so have they just given up on Jonathan David?
I think so, but I don't think he wants to go. Apparently, I think a couple of Premier League clubs are interested, but he's happy.
He's not interested in leaving Italy for Premier League.
No, I think he's happy. Juve bench. That's not bad. He's on some good money. I think
that is true.
Yeah,
He signed for free, so
yeah, exactly. And I don't blame him. Maybe he can come off the bench at times and contribute if Juve having a better season, controlling games a bit more. Yeah. I do think that's a really good starting 11 if they do get a good right back and keeper. And then you still got guys on the bench like Douglas Luiz and Koopmanners, Boga, who they signed
Oh yeah,
permanently.
Boga, yeah, good signing.
So yeah, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say Napoli, Roma, big question marks. Milan, an even bigger question mark. And I agree that Fiorentina can say something if they keep Moise Kean.
My thing is, yes, if they're able to hold on to the players that they've already signed and they have now, I think they should make the march for Europe this season. I don't know if, they should be in the top 6 or top 7 somewhere. I think they should be strong enough with the players that they have to enter. But yeah, we'll see. Because it is a tough league.
Yeah, very tough league. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.